Well, we undertook our climate change action plans back in late 2019, and we really identified the need for climate adaptation in the area as a result of projected increases in different climate extremes. We applied through the Increasing Resilience to Climate Change grants, which was run through local government New South Wales and New South Wales government, and we succeeded in getting $42,000 worth of grant funding. 4 key elements of this project. The first step was looking at what already is in place. Secondly, we then had to start doing some heat mapping and see how heat is distributed around the LGA. Third bit of the project was to then look at urban forest strategy and looking at a holistic approach to cooling our urban centres. Fourthly was our work with the vulnerability analysis of our current urban trees and also looking at what to plant into the future. What the project really found is that there was a significant build-up in heat, and to combat that we really need to look at our planning approaches, our infrastructure and also our tree canopy cover. So this project here at the Bungendore Sports Ground is looking into the climate suitability of future climate-ready trees. So these are trees not from our local area but from around Australia, and seeing how they cope with conditions here. So hopefully within the future we have trees which can survive hotter conditions. Community engagement is vital to the success of this project.
There was concepts I had never even thought of, things like canopy cover, the need for biodiversity of plantings, the need for caring for the trees and saying how many of those trees are healthy as indicators. All those are important ways of looking forward, but it's not just about trees, it's about urban design. We will get warmer, we will have more extreme temperatures, so this will help counteract in those real hot spots those extreme temperatures.
The expertise with regards to heat mapping and how to develop a urban forest cooling strategy was very important.
What we found when we looked at the mapping and the data and we looked at the tree canopy cover across the 4 town centres, you can see that there are areas where there's pretty strong canopy cover in private property. There's some good street trees. The town centres have some substantial trees. And in other areas across the LGA, the industrial areas are pretty devoid of tree cover. Generally, most people don't worry about beautifying the industrial areas, but what they do become is a bit of a heat sink in hot summer days. And if there's no mechanisms for cooling those areas, prevailing winds do blow the heat from there. So it's really important for us to think about all those different land use types.
So when we undertake urban heat planning, we actually use satellite imagery. So in one snapshot, they give us an insight into how heat is distributed right across the landscape. Urban heat is the biggest killer. And so increasingly, we're finding that councils, large council areas, are taking how they respond to urban heat more and more seriously.
I want the Keeping It Cool strategy to stand for climate adaptation in the regions. It's often thought about in the big cities and major town centres. However, I think it's really important that our regional areas have an important part to play with regards to climate change.